Welcome back, everyone. Musicals, and even more musicals. If you're crazy about Broadway, they are back. And while we're waiting to get our butts back in theaters, we can bring Broadway into our homes now. In this week's Press Play, Rotten Tomatoes correspondent Naz Perez is here with everything Broadway themed that is coming out this year and some that are streaming now to hold you over. Naz, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Yes, well, I love that you mentioned butt in the theaters because I am someone who loves sitting, and nothing brings me more joy than going to the movie theaters and sitting and watching other people do the dancing for me, if that makes sense.
Right.
But Broadway is making a heavy transition into the world of movies, you guys, starting with In the Heights, which comes out this Friday. I literally shake when I say In the Heights because I am so elated for this film. It's currently 97% certified fresh on the tomato meter, and it is just such a joy. It's the most New York movie that I've seen in a while. And I think often when we see films from New York, we never see them through the lens of the Latinx community. And we rarely get to see the neighborhood of Washington Heights. And this is a story about the people that live there, their sueñitos, their dreams. It's a story about love, identity, and what the sense of home means to them and to all of us. And Anthony Ramos is Hollywood's leading man. He is the lead in this film. He was in the original cast of Hamilton, actually, and he plays a Dominican bodega owner named Usnavi. And he is just so charming. I'm telling you, he's Hollywood's new leading man. It's also brought to us by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which we all know gave us Hamilton. So if you guys didn't know, Lin-Manuel Miranda brought the story of In the Heights to Broadway before Hamilton. This was a Tony Award-winning Broadway play in 2008, and his vision, along with John M. Chu, who directed this film and also directed Crazy Rich Asians, it just melts together like peanut butter and jelly. The last thing I'll say is, as somebody who is Latinx, and whose parents immigrated here, I think the audience of South Florida are really going to love and embrace In the Heights. And you're going to want to support it because, let's be real, if you're coming from the Caribbean or anywhere, in the Latinx community, most likely you live in Miami or New York. And I left watching this film with such a sense of pride, and I was just so grateful that, some of our stories are being told. So
And I love how you pointed out just culture and that representation matters. And, John Chu, Lin-Manuel Miranda, two very powerful powerhouses in Hollywood, bringing to life this incredible story. I'm excited to see it as well. Wicked, right? Okay, so Broadway, you can't talk Broadway, Naz, without talking about Wicked.
Right.
I've seen Wicked twice on Broadway.
So the reason why I included Wicked in this list is I want you guys to keep an eye out for it. And John M. Chu, the same person that directed Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights, once you see In the Heights, you're going to be so pumped and excited for Wicked, which actually doesn't have a release date yet, unfortunately. But it is just one of the most long-running, most successful shows on Broadway. If you've never seen it, it's the prequel to The Wizard of Oz. It's everything that goes down in Oz before Dorothy gets there. But you're going to definitely keep an eye out for it because what John M. Chu does in the Heights, he has mentioned in interviews that it prepped him for bringing Wicked to life. So I, for one, am just so excited. Nobody has been cast yet, but John M. Chu has a way of sort of tapping untapped talent and bringing them to the screen, i.e. Anthony Ramos. This is a person that gave us Henry Golding in Crazy Rich Asians. And I think a lot of people at home are also wondering, is Ariana Grande going to defy gravity and be Elphaba? Like, we don't know yet. And that's what's also really exciting about this. So keep an eye out for Wicked. It's going to be popular. Pun intended. But another show that's very, very popular on Broadway, which is coming out in December this year, I can give you guys the date. It's December 20th, is West Side Story. And I think most of us have seen West Side Story. And I always say, if you haven't seen it, it's most likely because you were in it. Isn't that right, Jason?
Yeah, I did a little turn as a shark back in high school in West Side Story. I got my dancing shoes on, but West Side Story is one of my favorite musicals of all time. Jerome Robbins choreography, just the music alone. Rita Moreno, who is a living legend as Anita. You can't go wrong with West Side Story. And Steven Spielberg behind the lens, Naz, life-changing.
Yeah. It is life-changing. And I think that's what's so exciting about West Side Story is that it's now being brought to us by Steven Spielberg, who grew up with West Side Story in his home as a child, as most of us did. And he worked with Tony Kushner, who was a playwright who worked with him on films like Munich and Lincoln, to give us an updated storyline against a different cityscape, but still with all the same music that we love. You mentioned Rita Moreno. She's actually back at 88 years old, not in the role of Anita, in a different role, which to me is just so exciting. I mean, that is reason alone to go. She won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for playing Anita in this film. But as far as leading cast goes, Ansel Elgort from Baby Driver is going to be Tony, and Rachel Zegler is going to be playing Maria. I, for one, am excited to see a Latinx person in the role of Maria. That's super exciting for me. And get this, Jason, she actually responded to a casting call on Twitter that Steven Spielberg put out, and she was picked over 30,000 other people. Can you imagine? I was reading that Spielberg actually said 20 out of 33 Puerto Rican characters were cast with people from Puerto Rico, which is also very exciting. But the most exciting thing about West Side Story, like you said, is that it lives within all of us. You know that moment when you're in the car and an old song comes on and you're just like, how does my brain know all the words to this song? It's going to be a similar experience when you go to see West Side Story. And I think it's going to be the holiday film that's just going to cheer us all up.
Okay, Naz, so another musical I'm excited to see that's bowing this fall is Dear Evan Hansen, which was a runaway hit when it was out on Broadway, and now we get to see it on the big screen.
You know, Ben Platt, he's reprising his role as Evan in this, and he actually won a Tony Award for this film. He was actually the youngest person to win Best Lead Actor in a Musical, which is just a little fun fact, but he just knows this character so well. He has such a complete and profound sense of the character, so I can't wait to see him bring this role to the big screen. But aside from Ben Platt, you know, we got 6-time Academy Award nominee Amy Adams, who's also in the film, Oscar winner Julianne Moore. I mean, the ensemble cast is stacked. It comes out September 24th in theaters, which I also think is a great time for it to come out because I think kids are going to be in school. It'll be like about a month and a half or a month, depending upon where you live, where kids are going back to school. And I think this is a great film for the whole family to see. If you guys have never heard of Dear Evan Hansen, it's about a kid in high school who suffers from social anxiety disorder. And he sort of goes on this journey of self-love and acceptance after the suicide of a fellow classmate. So not only is this film fun, it's going to have an extended third act. We're going to get 2 brand new songs, but it also might stir some great conversations on the way home if you're going to see it with the entire family.
Perfect for fall. Great family movie for fall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for all of these movies to hit the big screen for us to, like I said, get our butts back in those seats, what can we watch now that will whet our palate for and will satiate, I guess, our Broadway appetite?
We want to give you stuff that you guys can watch right now. And at Rotten Tomatoes, we have so many great editorials if you guys haven't been on our website yet. But one of my favorites is an article we have called 100 Best Musicals of All Time. So if you don't get enough recommendations here with me today, there is a whole list there that you guys can start watching right now. I'm going to give you guys number 5 on that list, and one of my personal favorites, La La Land. And I also figured since we started with a very New York-centric musical of In the Heights, let's end with a very LA-centric musical. I may be a little biased because I live in LA now, but La La Land is certified fresh, 91% on the tomato meter. If you guys have never seen it, it's about 2 people falling in love in LA, but also trying to reconcile with their career choices, as a lot of us are. It stars Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, who I'm sure a lot of you are going to want to see more of if you've been lucky enough to see Cruella, because she is just so dazzling in it. Again, it's number 5 on our list, but if La La Land's not your thing, go to RottenTomatoes.com, 100 Best Musicals of All Time. We have so many great ones on there, like Easter Parade, starring Judy Garland, and all that jazz from Bob Fosse that you guys will come across.
Love it, love it. Naz Perez, correspondent with Rotten Tomatoes, giving you guys the gospel when it comes to Broadway and musicals and all things streaming. Thank you so much. Always glad to have you on Inside South Florida, and I'm for sure going to watch In the Heights tonight and think of you.
Well, I'm hoping that I will get a home video of you being a shark in West Side Story, because that's all I need to be.
That'll get your whole life together as me. Fine, you got it. It's coming. I'm gonna do a TikTok of me doing West Side Story numbers on TikTok for you, Naz.
All right, bye guys. Thanks for having me.